3, yeah.
Okay, so this is Dr. Dickinson, and this is TED 531B, our student teaching seminar. Today we are reflecting on our opportunity to kind of interview and talk to our teachers and master teachers and discuss differentiation and instructional strategies for English language learners and students with special needs. So each group will be presenting some ideas, some strategies, and what they've learned so far, and then we'll have some time for questions. So if you'd like to introduce yourself and the grade level that you teach.
My name is Michael Dixon. I teach high school anywhere from 9 to 12.
I'm Lynn L. Wiley. I teach middle school 6 through 8.
My name is Gabe Resendez, and I teach high school social studies.
The class that I'm teaching right now is at Santa Clara High School. There's quite a few number of ELL students, which is English language learners, and the best way to identify these kids that I found out is to actually go into their CUME file and or their files and find out what their CELT score is, which is the California English Language Development Test. This will give you a level of their reading, their writing skills. After identifying these students and their skills, a lot of them are visual learners that we have found out. So a lot of pictures, illustrating pictures with the assignments would help out as well. A lot of things that I've learned, you have to get to know your students. So if you have a predominantly class that's maybe heavy in Vietnamese and or with Spanish, maybe you bring some of that culture into the classroom. A lot of the kids that I'm dealing with now, they're Spanish, so we like to bring in, maybe we get them involved with soccer, or maybe sometimes some of the seasons and stuff like that. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. We implement that into the lesson plan. Now, if we have a problem where we get a student in that really doesn't speak English and maybe speaks Spanish, what we like to do is pair them up with one of our stronger English students. That's called the translation. We can do that with a classmate, which we prefer to do because the teacher has a lot to do on his or her own. But if that doesn't work because of the maturity level of some of the kids, we would definitely have to have the teacher accept more responsibility on that. Another one that we found out was pretty good is the dictionary. I did this for my son when he was trying to learn Spanish, is that he have a dictionary and he punch the words in English and it would come out in Spanish. So that helped out a lot. And worksheets. That helps out as well. It comes out pretty good as far as trying to translate between the English and the Spanish. But getting back to the top, this is for me, this would be the number one thing to identify your students. And then number two, I would say knowing how to group them. We would group them in commonalities, I guess. I mean, maybe group gender. We went into another one, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you go with that.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Go
You
ahead.
said the translation with a classmate. So
What?
is that a classmate that is fluent in the same primary language as the ELL, or?
It could be. It could be, or it could be, or it could be a student that speaks the Spanish and or English. I would mostly pair them with comfortability. I like it when kids feel comfortable in the class. They feel comfortable in the class. They feel more safe, and I believe it opens them up for a little bit more learning. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
Did I? Are you just saying that?
No, what I'm hearing from you is that it depends on the situation. So if you have a student that perhaps has primary language that matches your ELL, then you would match them up if there's a level of comfort and trust and you identify them as someone that could support the student.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that the self-test would be able to help us with
Sure.
that. I forget how the numbers go. I don't know if 1 is lower or 4. Does it go from 1 to 4?
Yes.
4 being the best, the highest?
Right.
Well, then I would probably put, a 4
Right.
with the 1. And if they didn't work out socially, you'd have to find a way to parent.
And so the CELT would be reading, writing, listening, and also speaking.
Yeah, I think there's 5 genres that go there, or 4, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I forgot the other 2. It's been a while. But
Right.
thank you.
No, did I miss one? Nope.
No, that's it.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll talk
Okay.
about the region that's in common to both English language learners and special needs learners. We have an overlap region here on our Venn diagram. One is using grouping of students to accommodate the needs of both the ELLs and the special needs students. And they can be grouped in using different criteria. One is by gender. It's possible that some students are more comfortable with someone of their own gender. If it doesn't matter, we wouldn't really want to bring that into play, but sometimes it matters to them. Another is using interests, common interests, to group our students together. And also maturity level can come into this. We, for our ELLs and our special needs students, we want to match them with students who are mature enough to care about helping to meet their needs, or who have some knowledge that can be transferred over to the student who needs it. Technology is also a common area to both ELLs and special needs students. We have visual enhancements, for example, for a student who may have visual disability. Word processing is a real big one for students who have difficulty with their handwriting. And of course, technology can come into play for many, many things that can meet the needs of both your English learners and your special needs students. Scribing, we actually wrote separately. If word processing works, that could be enough. But scribing can come into play for students who can't write or even type. Then either another student or a teacher or an aide can do scribing for them. Okay.
All right, so for special needs, we have accommodations for extra time. So this can be maybe in a resource room, they take a test. They just need more time to do it. Shorten the assignments, maybe they can do it, but their attention span isn't quite there to do the same as the rest of the class. And then just extra scaffolding, so give you more of a foundation. Modifications, we already talked about describing and the use of technology. Drawing pictures, maybe they know exactly what the content is, but having trouble communicating. So maybe drawing pictures is the best way to do it. Or even looking up pictures using the technology. And then simplify movement. So if they're ADHD, they just need to move around. So like maybe doing a gallery walk. So in my geography class, they had to describe different types of maps, and we just post them around, and then they just have to identify them. So that helps keep their attention and their movement going. And then that goes with transitions.
Thank you.
Questions? Or, I think technology was a really good intersection there, and a lot of programs also have what's called adaptive learning. So those programs kind of are situated in where the kids are at based on pre-assessments. And so my question is, have you used any type of assessments to support your work with English language learners or special needs students? And if so, how has that been helpful?
Well, one thing we've done in our class is use Khan Academy for assessing special needs students. And we have one girl in our class who cannot do our content level. She has very high special needs, and she does a fair amount of work on Khan Academy, and it automatically scaffolds for her, puts her at the right level of where she's at. So technology, there's a huge amount available for us with technology.
Great. Gabe, Mike, in terms of using assessment?
Not in the classes I'm student teaching. I have used technology in the math classes I taught in the summer, and just helping them translate real quick. They may get the textbook and then they'll type it in, at least the keywords, and then it helps them figure it out, because they were Vietnamese.
Oh, okay. No, I just meant using assessments in general, like a quick write or any type of assessment, and how did that inform your instructions with working with students?
Well, one thing I do with my EL student is if he gets the content, and I try to encourage him to practice in English, but when it comes to the tests, if you can't do it in English, go ahead, go back to Spanish, and I'll figure it out. And then we'll see what we can do from there.
Yeah, I've only been in this class for a short period of time, so I've identified a couple of kids. For me, it just comes down to constant formative assessments and just staying on track with what they're doing. I have not done any type of technology assessments or anything like that. I just haven't done it. I haven't been in there long enough to do it. But I've been in there, I've been around the kids long enough to do it where you can see if the kid has a problem and stuff like that.
Right.
So I've been able to maybe focus, as I'm walking around, focus more on that particular student.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I'm at with that.
No, I think that's a
pretty much
huge
it.
thing. Maybe also include, like you were saying, in using formative assessment to kind of support you and looking at their body language and how long it takes them to complete a task and where they're struggling, so that you can support them. That's such a great thing to also include. Awesome. Okay, great job, you guys.